You know, we normally associate hearing loss with this. But we rarely associate it with this. I'm here to tell you it doesn't matter what you ride, you're going deaf. Let's talk about that. Well, hello friends, Coach Bob with you today, and today, man, have I got a great video for you, man. It is about your hearing and hearing loss on motorcycles. This is an absolutely critical conversation that needs to be had with anyone that rides. I don't care what you ride, you need to take this conversation very seriously, because one day, if you don't, it's going to come back to haunt you, and that is an absolute fact. That is not a bet or may happen, might happen. It will happen. But before we get going in this, do me a favor, give the video a big old thumbs up, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, all this stuff. This could save your motorcycle friend's life, his hearing life anyway. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing today. First, we're going to talk about what motorcycling does to your ears, and then we're going to talk about some ways to protect your hearing. Now, I have everything that I have, I purchased. Nothing was given to me. I purchased all of these. I mean, I have the custom molded, I've got the loop earplugs, I've got the regular sound kind of deadening plugs, and then I've got just the old foam plugs. So we'll talk about all that. All right, so first let's talk about what motorcycle does to your hearing. Now, I'm going to tell you, it doesn't sound loud on this right now. It doesn't. I'm just riding along 45 miles an hour. I can hear myself talk inside of my helmet. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. But I'm going to tell you that if you were sitting in a room with this much ambient noise going on all the time, you'd be amazed at how loud this thing really is. The wind noise is really a lot more than you realize, and it can hurt you. It can hurt you bad. And once the damage is done, it's done. There is no going back. You know, at 60 miles an hour, you're 80 to 90 dB. That's decibels. An 80 to 90 dB exposure for 15 minutes or more can damage your hearing. It doesn't take long. This isn't something that you go, oh, okay, well maybe it will, maybe it won't. No, it will. It will. It's just a matter of how long it takes and how much damage you're going to sustain. If you're getting off of a motorcycle and your ears going beep, you're damaging your hearing, or it's already happening. You just don't even realize it, and then it goes away. You lay in bed at night and that beeping goes away. You're damaging your hearing. You know, at 75 miles per hour, wind noise is up to 100 decibels, and all it takes is 90 decibels to permanently damage your hearing. So we're playing with fire. If you're getting on the interstate for an hour, you're damaging your hearing. You know, I used to be curious, why do your ears ring? What is all that about anyway? Well, I can tell you what it is not to go into a lot of science about your ear, but we'll talk a little bit about, as the sound enters that outer ear and goes through the middle ear where those little bones vibrate, you know, it goes into your cochlear. And when it goes into that cochlear portion of it, there's these things called hair cells. They look like little filaments moving in liquid. And what happens is when you get too much noise, too much of that chaos, those little filaments in there, we'll call them hairs with lack of a better description. They don't look like a human hair, but they look like little hairs inside of a liquid. And what happens is those things start to break and bend over. And when they do that, when they bend over and they're damaged forever. They never get better. So what creates the ringing? Why would they get damaged? Would that create the ringing? Well, you know, your brain takes these botched up nerve signals that are coming out of the cochlea, and it says, we've got to create a noise. There's something going on here, and it starts creating ghost noises. It can be hisses, it can be snaps, it can be pops, it can be all kinds of stuff. But normally, It ends up doing one big thing, and that's this. Beep. And anyone who's ever laid in bed at night and dealt with that, it's bad. It's bad. You know, I was an air traffic controller, and for over 20 years, I had an earpiece in my left ear. Just the little side tone and the speech going through that left ear, my left ear is damaged. And it's damaged beyond repair. It's not something that they can go, well, we'll fix that for you, Bob. It doesn't work that way. So my goal for you is for you not to be dealing with this, because it can be quite painful. So let's do this. We're going to head back to the house, and I'm going to show you some varieties of earplugs, and then I want you to make a decision as to what you're going to do. But the one thing I'm going to say is do something. Do something. Don't just let your hearing waste away. That is not worth it. All right, so let's head back to the office. I've got some errands to do anyway. You don't want to go to Publix with me, I don't think. I got to go buy some salad. All right, so let's talk all things earplugs. You know, all earplugs aren't created the same. And I want to tell you that just because something is extremely efficient at blocking out noise doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be your best option on the motorcycle. I will say this, the more noise it blocks out, the better it is for your hearing though. So there's this delicate balance that we're going to try to strike today that gives us the ability to hear what's going on around us versus just blocking out all noise. Now, there is a time when you're riding to block out all noise. Those times would be like when you're riding on the interstate for extended periods of time in high wind, where you're not conversing and you're not necessarily hearing a lot of things going on because all you would hear is just brutal wind noise anyway. So, but you're not going to be able to hear your music if you listen to it inside your helmet, and you're not going to be able to talk on your phone inside your helmet if those things are important to you, because it becomes very difficult when you use these. Now, this is a foamy, you know, most of them are orange, but this one is kind of a bouquet of colors. It's got blues and teals and whites and all that. All you do, you take this thing, you scrunch it up really, really well. You see it gets small. And then what you do is you stick that bad boy in your ear, and as it expands, it blocks out all noise. Now, I'm going to tell you, this is your best hearing protection. It doesn't get any better than that. It's not a filter. It is a block, and that's what it does. And it creates an airtight seal around your ear. Now, there are those who want to spit on them or put water on them or whatever you want to do. You can do that. I'm not going to suggest that you put, a bunch of bacteria from your mouth in your ear or any of that. You make your own decision on that. These are cheap. They're effective, and they work really, really well. You can buy them at Walmart. You can buy them at CVS. You can get like 50 for $7. I mean, they're cheap, but they work great. And then if you lose them, you haven't really lost anything. You just go, boop, I'll grab another one out of the jar, throw it in there. I always have a Ziploc bag with about a dozen of these on every motorcycle that I ride. So if I'm riding in an environment that gets like really, really loud where wind becomes a real problem, I'll pop those in because they're really helpful. Or I'll put them in my left ear only because that's the ear that gives me the most trouble, and put a different type of earplug in my right ear so that I can still hear what's going on around me. So there are some options. You can mix and match in these things. All right, so let's go to option number 2. Option number 2 looks like this. Now, these are these little rubberized ones. They'll have little holes in them and stuff, and they're supposed to block out certain frequencies. I find that these are like foamy lights. Okay, they don't work as well as the foamy, but they still are more prone to just block out everything, just at a lesser degree. Now, of course, when I purchased these, they came on a string. The string quickly got destroyed because I yanked one off so I could put one in one ear, and I was trying different things, testing out earplugs, couldn't get the string to go back in it, and there you have it. Do these work? Yes, they do. I have multiple pairs of these. But these don't go on trips with me anymore. These pretty much just sit in my little drawer of earplugs here at the house. So I would say that of all of the options, this is similar enough to the foamy where you're not really benefiting from it, but you're paying more. And when you damage it, you're going to have to pay $5 or $6 for another pair like this. And to me, that right there, unless it's all available, it's kind of a waste of your time. Now, option 3 for me is going to be what I call a molded earplug. Molded earplugs are expensive. I don't know exactly what I paid for these, but it was probably a couple of $100. So you have these, and what they do is they inject gel into your ear, and they take a mold of your ear, and then on a machine, they make these while you wait. So you'll, like at Bike Week, they'll have a booth. This company is called In-Ears Sport, INEARZ. They make not only just standard molded plugs, they also make plugs that are Bluetooth, that have cables coming out of them to plug into comm systems. I think that would be a really, really good option. Like if you're on a trip, if you had something like this that was Bluetooth, or something like this that could connect to your communicator, this could be a real game changer. This is what I have though. Will I do a Bluetooth comm type thing? I'm going to be going over to Bike Week in March, and I will be looking at that option. These right here, a lot like the foamies and everything, these block out a lot of sound. You would think that they would block out everything, but to me, these seem like they allow a little more frequencies through. They don't create an airtight seal around your ear, even though it's molded to your ear. It's not airtight, and so you do get a little bit of noise out of these. I've had several pairs of these. They'll have different colors. You've got a blue there, and you've got a red there. The red is your right ear, the blue is your left ear. These work very, very well. I like them a lot. Whenever I travel, these always go with me. They come in a little case, and I keep them right there in that case. They go in my saddlebag with my foamies. Now the question is, will I use them? Probably not, because I'm going to bring out the option that I like the best. All right, here's my last option for you. Again, I purchased all of these, so I don't have a dog in the fight as far as what you decide to do or any of that. And I'm not leaving links below. I'm giving you brands and I'm giving you ideas, and you can do with what you want. But this last option is what I bought that I really was thinking I'm probably not going to like a lot, but I really do. I was willing to take the chance. So these are called the Loop Switch 2s. Now, you're going to see that they're hanging on this string. This is a little connective string that you can buy from the company. I like it a lot. It hooks in around behind the little rubber earpiece, and it's got these little magnetic pieces on there, which is a nice touch. I haven't lost them because of these. And what happens, you hang these around your neck, and then that magnetic strip pulls them together, and then it's around your neck, and you're not worried about losing them. And it doesn't take a whole lot. When you hang them around your neck, they just automatically grab each other. I really like that a lot. So here's what the loop looks like. It's not a whole lot to look at here. So this is the back side of it, but you'll see it's got a little hole in there. That doesn't go in your ear. This is the section that you grab with your thumb and forefinger and press it into your ear. There is the portion that goes inside of your ear. You see it looks a lot like an Apple AirPod rubber piece. It's exactly like that. And they're in sizes. They send you multiple sizes so that you can fit in your ears. And what I like is, if you're like me, my ear canal in my left ear is different than the one in my right ear. And so this gives me the option to put in the size that I need. But what makes these unique, and I don't think you're going to be able to see it on this, there are some little white dots here, and this little wheel here, right here, it turns. And as it turns, you have 3 dots. You have a dot that's completely painted in. You have another dot that's half painted in, and another one that just looks like a ring. And the one that looks like the ring is going to allow the most sound through. The middle one is going to be less sound. And then the one that is solid white, that is going to be your noise canceling. And these things work really, really well as long as you get a good seal. They come with a little carrying case that works well. I have it. It's in the saddlebag of the motorcycle right now.
These are the ones I've been wearing. I come inside, I take them off. Again, with that magnetic loop, I'll drop it around like my microphone here. I'll just drop it there and I know where they are. I'll hang these on a lamp in the living room by where my riding gear is. So these I really, really like a lot. They're my mainstay. If I'm riding around town, this is what I'm wearing. If I'm riding on a trip that's less than 4 or 5 hours, these are my A choices. If I'm going to be in a loud environment for an extended period of time, it's going to either be my molded earpieces or the simple, inexpensive foamy. That's what it's going to be, because they're going to block the most noise, and that wind noise can deafen you. All right, so there it is, 4 options for you. The loops are $65. If you get the little connecting string, that's probably another $20. You're looking at $85, $90. I did recommend these to John, a subscriber to the channel. He loves his as well, so I'm glad to see he's getting good use out of them. What I can do when I'm riding is very nice. If I get a phone call, like I'll have this thing set on the loop, I'll have the loop set on the most silent. And I'll know when I put it in there which direction I should turn my finger. I can take my index finger, stick it up inside my helmet, and just go. And it'll turn that little wheel. And then I can hear my phone conversation. And then when I get done, I take my finger, I put it in there and turn the wheel, and all of the ambient noise is gone. The loop earplugs have been a blessing to me. I really, really like them. So there you go. $65 plus a string, and you can have them too.
All right, well, my errands are run. I'll go to the pharmacy later. All the old mundane things that we do, right? All right, so of all of the earplugs that you saw, I'm going to tell you, the ones that absolutely work the best are just the old cheap foamies. They work the best, but I think they isolate your world too much, and we need to be more aware of our surroundings. So there's a balance you have to strike there. So that would be, as far as the most sound deadening, it would be just the foamies. Behind that, as far as sound deadening, would be just those little rubbery ones that I had. They're supposed to only block out certain frequencies, but from my experience, they block out a lot more than what you think they would. They're almost like a foamy. Hope I got enough weight to send the sensor off, you know. I kind of roll back and forth over it. There we go. But I find that those do deaden things an awful lot. And then, so I would say that those two would be, although they're most sound deadening, those would be my last choices, that's for sure. So what would be the runner-up? Not the greatest choice, but a great choice. That would be the molded ones. The molded earplugs I really do like. They fit well. They provide a lot of sound deadening and stuff. But the reality is that they're prone to block out a little too much. If I'm going to do a long day on the highway where it's like super crazy windy, I'll have those with me, or I'll have some foamies with me where it's like really noisy. And I know I'm just going to be like, it's going to be a cacophony of wind, then I'm going to put those in because they're going to protect my hearing the most. But general riding, I'm, highway speed, doing this and doing that, running around town, the loop earplugs are the absolute best. They're just the best. With that little thing that turns, you wouldn't think it would do very much, and it is very subtle, but I like them the best. I can hear well with them. I'm not damaging my hearing, or if I am, it's a lot less. But I still can hear what's going on around me without letting the wind tear me up. And I've done 4-hour trips with those things to where I got off the bike and my tinnitus was no worse. You notice I said no worse. I have tinnitus all the time. My left ear, it's always present. When I listen to my little apps that help me sleep and stuff, I try to always make sure they're pointing in the direction of my right ear, not my left. If I'm laying on my stomach and my left ear is facing the nightstand, I have to turn it up kind of loud, and Coach Vic's like, could you turn that down? And I'm like, baby, if I turn it down any lower, I can't hear it. If I flip over on my back, my right ear is now facing the nightstand, I can hear it very, very low. So I know there is a dramatic difference between the hearing in my left ear and the hearing in my right ear. And that's not just associated with the tinnitus and the discomfort and that sort of stuff. All right, well, I want you to do something. I want you to give the video a big old thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, all that stuff. But a few more things about hearing loss. You know, hearing loss is one of those things that it's subtle, it can be, and it can gradually disappear. So what happens is you're out doing something like this that you love. You absolutely love it. And you gradually, as you get home, you can't hear your wife anymore. You can't hear your grandchildren say, I love you, Poppy. You know, those are things that you won't get back. You need those things. Hearing loss as we get older, we know, is normal anyway. But I can't tell you the number of guys that I know in their 50s and 60s that have been longtime riders that wear hearing aids. Hundreds of them. Friends and friends and friends and friends. Musician friends who have lost their hearing over the years. Who are phenomenal musicians, still phenomenal musicians. But man, they have to have the guitar or the bass or whatever they're playing turned up so loud you can't play music with them. They just can't hear themselves anymore. It's really sad. Take care of your hearing. It's really important. You know, I hope this wasn't a downer for you. You know, it's not intended to be. I just want you to take it seriously. Now that you've seen the options, you can go out and make an informed decision. So I want you to do me a favor. Yes, you go out, buy the motorcycle or the earplugs of your dreams. Eat right, take care of yourself, and remember, if you're not having fun, you are most definitely doing it wrong. Now you go seize the day, and I'll see you on the road real soon.